Every movie has random trivia. And here at Trivial Theater, I explore some of these movies and the random circumstances that make them the weird creations that we love. We're headed back into my classic faves this week with a black comedy by the master of suspense himself, Alfred Hitchcock. Without further ado, this is The Trouble with Harry. After some dazzling fall colors, filmed in VistaVision no less, we find a boy named Arnie, who knows how to handle a laser pistol wandering through the forest. The music conveys the idea of whimsy, with just a dash of impending danger. This point gets backed up after he runs across a dead body, in a weird POV shot that shows off the goods. I guess it's the nature of the shot that scares the kid off, as we fade up to Captain Wiles, who's really good at killing cans and signs, but can't seem to hit anything with 4 legs. When he stumbles upon a dead body, he assumes that he doesn't have quite the same problem with 2-legged things. The good captain proceeds to have an argument with the body.
If you're going to get yourself shot, do it where you're known.
And then weirdly flirts with Miss Gravely, who makes a very good observation.
He's dead.
Yes. I would say that he was. Of course, that's an unprofessional opinion.
They hide as Arnie returns with his mother, Jennifer, who also talks to the dead body in a very familiar way. Then a reoccurring gag commences as a local yet completely oblivious doctor engrossed in his book stumbles over the body, apologizes, and continues on his way, both reading and walking. A hobo then comes along and smartly grabs a stylish new set of shoes. All this action in a very secluded meadow, no less. The captain's thoughts on this reflect mine pretty well.
Couldn't have had more people here if I'd sold tickets.
We get a weird sock-footed POV shot and an introduction to our less important character, Sam, who both sings a song mentioned in the opening credits and sweetly serenades all of our characters as they go about their day. Sam goes out to enjoy another day of sketching, but finds a pair of feet have screwed up his work. Those feet just happen to belong to Harry. The captain comes out of hiding once again to talk over the dead body, who is also currently being used as a side table. It's decided they'll ask Jennifer how she knows Harry. And if all goes well, Sam promises,
and I personally will help you bury Harry.
The good doctor once again trips over the body, and so begins a series of 50s era sexual innuendos.
Do you realize that you'll be the first man to, cross her threshold? You certainly are a lovely woman. I'd like to paint you nude.
Although I had no true feeling for Harry, I had worked myself into a certain enthusiasm because I thought he loved me.
Lightly, Sam. I have a very short fuse.
I tell you, they're downright scandalous. After an intense, well-thought-out debate on the nature of time,
Perhaps I'll come back tomorrow.
When's that?
Day after today.
That's yesterday. Today's tomorrow.
It was.
When was tomorrow yesterday, Mr. Morrow?
Jennifer confirms that Harry was her husband. He threatened her, and after she clubbed him with a milk bottle, he staggered into the woods. The decision is made to bury Harry, so Sam and the captain get to work. Now, the way they describe this random corpse's final resting place sounds like what I would look for in a really good home.
A place with a certain character and attractiveness.
Facing west, so that Harry can watch the setting sun.
Where it'll be cozy in winter.
And cool in the summer.
After burying him, the captain has second thoughts, and the body is dug up, just to be buried again after a few minutes of discussion over who actually killed Harry. The captain brings Miss Gravely round to his place and proceeds with the niceties, until he realizes he's literally airing his dirty laundry. Miss Gravely reveals that she believed she killed Harry by hitting him over the head with her spiked hiking shoe after he annoyed her. A very polite way of saying she was attacked. She finds out that they buried Harry and insists upon digging him up and then telling the authorities since she killed him in self-defense. She promises the captain a hot chocolate for his help, and apparently he can't resist that. Unfortunately, she ends up doing all the digging. They arrive at Jennifer's house and explain about Harry. Then after another discussion, they decide to bury him again.
I've never been to a homemade funeral before.
I have. This is my third.
The captain says what we're all thinking.
I think we ought to cement it over.
And then Sam says a kinda sweet, cringy thing,
You look beautiful, glistening in the moonlight.
showing the growing affection between him and Jennifer. More discussion brings up the fact that Jennifer will need to prove Harry is dead so they can get married. Up Harry comes again, and because he's so covered with dirt, they decide to clean him up so he can be found as naturally as possible. And as to be expected, this involves doing his laundry. Now that is what you call service. Eventually, Harry is dressed and put back where he started, only to once again be found by Arnie. For me, The Trouble with Harry is a love story wrapped up in a black comedy, in a way that could only be done in the 50s. The amount of one-liners and absolute cheek written into this movie never ceases to amaze me. Better yet, it's delivered in a deadpan way that makes it all the more funny. Hitchcock developed this movie to test how stateside audiences would react to a more subtle brand of humor. It unfortunately tanked, making it one of his only box office failures upon its initial US release, although it did run for over a year in England, Italy, and France. This was also Shirley MacLaine's first role, and she ended up winning a Golden Globe for it. All of Hitchcock's movies have a certain perverse sense of humor, but this was only his second actual comedy, and it stands as one of his favorite movies. The Trouble with Harry, as well as Rope, Vertigo, The Man That Knew Too Much, and Rear Window were known as the Lost Hitchcocks, because they were unavailable for 3 decades due to negotiation of distribution rights. They were finally re-released in theaters in 1984. There's so much random stuff to love about this movie, for instance the fact that Harry is actually played by an actor named Philip Truex. It was set to be his final role, and he was initially very excited to play the titular character, until he found out he'd be playing a corpse. He took that as a sign that his film career was well and truly dead, and he went on to become a gardener. And his IMDb picture is pretty great too. The Trouble with Harry strikes an interesting balance for me. It sneaks in so many cheeky little innuendos and dances around the subject of a group of people covering up a murder at a time when the rules about such things were incredibly strict. Yet it takes the very traditional role of everyone looking up to the handsome main male character to save the day, no matter what the situation. This comes up time and time again. This isn't terribly unusual for Hitchcock, but it does strike me as an interesting juxtaposition of experimental and traditional. The Trouble with Harry is definitely worth a look. Hell, even the use of color is worth checking out. The shots are gorgeous and incredibly vibrant. The use of day for night can be a little distracting, but given the time, it wasn't a terribly unusual technique. The Trouble with Harry doesn't have the suspense of a lot of Hitchcock classics, but it has a whimsical and yet morbid side that matches anything else that Hitchcock did. It's well worth seeking out, and I can't recommend it enough. So what do you think? Suggestions for movies, trivial questions, comments, ratings, and I guarantee that Harry won't come back as a zombie would be appreciated. Thank you so very much for watching.